On to Russia, where Vladimir Putin has won his fourth term as the Russian president. Exit polls in Russia indicate that Putin has won the presidency with 76.67% of the votes in his favor. Putin made a victory speech in front of his campaign headquarters in Moscow shortly after the exit poll results projected him as the clear leader. He called for national unity and said that he is not planning on making any constitutional reforms yet.
Перед нами стоят очень сложные, непростые задачи. И нам нужно не просто их решать, как обычно в текущем режиме, а нам нужно осуществить, я говорил об этом не случайно в послании, прорыв, рывок. Мы можем это сделать. У нас есть для этого все основания вот так считать и добиться такого результата. И нам очень важно, чтобы, когда мы будем это делать, чтобы различные политические силы руководствовались не групповыми интересами, не какими-то клановыми, а общенациональными.
While the official results are yet to be released, Putin's victory as president comes as no surprise. The former KGB spy has dominated Russian politics over the last 18 years. In the last presidential election, Vladimir Putin won 63.6% of the vote. Congratulatory messages have been pouring in from the world over, including from world leaders like President Xi Jinping of China, who says that Beijing is willing to work with Moscow to bring ties to a higher level. Xi Jinping said, and I'm quoting, "Currently, the China-Russia Comprehensive Strategic Cooperative Partnership is at the best level in history, which sets an example for building a new type of international relation." And we earlier spoke to Lucy Taylor, WION's correspondent from Moscow. We asked her whether it can be said that Putin has accomplished his mission of over 70% votes and whether reports of elections being rigged are true or not. Listen into what she said.
I think so, yes. The turnout does seem to be pretty good for him. Of course, turnout was important in this election because the Kremlin feels it gives the result legitimacy. It affirms Putin's strong base as leader of this country. Although he might have a large majority of the vote, what's important to him is actually how many Russians came out to vote for him. And as I say, projections do seem to be that that was fairly good. On the other hand, the thing that's detracting from this election is the allegations of irregularities or improprieties from both independent observers and opposition monitors. One of the observers, a company called Golos, has said that it had thousands of calls to a hotline that it set up where members of the public could ring in and complain about anything they'd seen at their local polling station or other polling stations which seemed to be against election law. And also on social media, there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of people posting videos which appear to show some people stuffing ballots or in other ways trying to interfere with this election. There are videos of the cameras from the polling stations in some cases where people appear to be putting more than one ballot into the ballot box, which obviously is not allowed, and other cases where people have been blocked from voting or observers have say that they've been blocked from doing their job by crowds of people or by officials in the polling stations. And the second allegation is that people may have been forced or coerced to vote in large groups. So people who have jobs in workplaces may have been told that they have to go to the polling station, not necessarily told who to vote for, but told that they have to vote, and the implication being they should vote for the candidate which their employer approves of. But the response from the Kremlin is that these were very minor allegations which can't be proved. The Central Election Commission, which administers this election, says that it's happy with the transparency of the election. From the preliminary assessments that it's done so far, it feels that any irregularities were very modest.
Russia's Election Commission, meanwhile, has said that reports of alleged violations in the presidential elections would be investigated. The chief of Russia's Central Election Commission dismissed many of the appeals already made to the commission as misunderstandings and said that others would be subject to checks and legal action.
Рассчитываем, что сейчас и правоохранительные органы оперативно сработают, и это, да, надеемся, что, во всяком случае, мы этому будем способствовать в рамках своих полномочий, чтобы решение комиссии было адекватно тому, что произошло, соответствующей комиссии, да.
According to Russian media reports, some ballot boxes in at least 2 polling stations in Moscow were disqualified. Independent observers monitoring web stream of Russia's presidential election polling stations cried foul, sharing video links on social media alleging violations across the country. Expect new deals to be signed in energy, trade and space when Russian President Vladimir Putin visits India this year. The Russian ambassador to India tells WION in this exclusive conversation that the 19th annual summit will be held in October. The envoy adds that Russia is open to Indian investments in the Arctic for oil exploration. Take a listen in.
I have with me Ambassador Nikolai Kudashev, the ambassador of Russia to India. Ambassador Kudashev, now India and Russia have had annual summits, yes, alternatively in India and Russia. The first summit was held in 2000, right, when President Putin was in power. So right, it's been almost 2 decades. Right. And we are given to understand this year, President Putin, after his re-election, can be expected to visit India for the annual summit. Could you throw some light on what to expect from the 19th summit to be held this year?
Yes, really, we expect the next bilateral summit to be conducted here in India in October this year. It's an open secret. Let me say that we could hope that we are almost sure to have a reconfirmation of the common commitment of Russia and India to the principles of multipolar world, to the principles of sustainable development, to the principles of non-use of sanctions and pressure other than exerted by the United Nations Security Council. We are committed to peaceful economic development and cooperation. You could expect many new deals in economics, be it energy, nuclear, space. You could also expect deals in the military and technical field, which is the most convincing demonstration of the special type of our relationship. And naturally, we are looking after the humanitarian contact to make that precious people-to-people relationship continue in the 21st century.
What's the next big idea in terms of India-Russia cooperation, defense and security or high technology?
So it could be anything. Well, naturally, we would continue to look for common solutions in the area of security, military and technical cooperation included. As regards energy, well, we are open to Indian investment, to Indian exploration of the northern parts of Russia like Arctic. This is previously unexpected area or platform of cooperation. We are open to further cooperation in the nuclear sphere, inclusive of the futuristic plan of cooperation till the middle of the 21st century. Next, it's infrastructure, bullet trains, liquefied natural gas, smart cities, and you name it. It's numerous fields of cooperation which are awaiting us in the course of the summit and after the summit.
And re-elected Russian President Vladimir Putin also spoke about the former double agent Sergei Skripal's poisoning, which took place in Britain. President Putin has rejected the UK's claims that Moscow was behind the nerve agent attack.
Что касается вот той трагедии, которую вы сказали, ну и, конечно, думаю, что любой здравомыслящий человек понимает, что это полная чушь, бред, нонсенс, чтобы кто-то в России себе позволил подобные выходки накануне президентских выборов и чемпионата мира по футболу. Ну, просто немыслимо.
Putin added that he was open to cooperating with the United Kingdom in the investigation, but the UK had not shown any interest so far.
Я узнала о ней из средств массовой информации.